Am I the a-hole for making my stepsister and stepmom look for my lost necklace? I, 17 female, have a necklace that was made for me by a friend who does wire wrapping. It's the prettiest thing I own, and my friend moved last year, so it's my memory of her. My dad married his girlfriend last year, and her daughter of 15 female and I don't get along. She's annoying and whines about everything. She always wants to borrow my stuff and then loses or breaks it or something. My stepmom just enables that and gives her whatever she wants to shut her up. It's dumb. Anyway, she really likes my necklace, but I won't let her touch it because I know how she is. She wanted to wear it with an outfit for her birthday party at her dad's a week ago, and I said no. So she whined to her mom, who told me to let her wear it to keep the peace. I told my dad, and he said I didn't have to let her wear it. So I didn't. On the day of the party though, I noticed it's gone from my jewelry box, and stepmom admits she took it and let my stepsister wear it since it was so important to her. I was so mad. I was going to just tell my dad, but he was away for work for a couple of days and I decided to wait till he got back. Stepsister said she would give it back the next day, but I saw it on the floor in the bathroom that night and took it back before it could get broken. I decided to teach her a lesson, so I hid it and then asked for it back the next day. She couldn't find it, so her mom and her went through her room from top to bottom trying to find it, and when they couldn't, stepmom said she would buy me a nicer one to replace it. But I just told her she can't replace something my friend made, and she stole something my dad already said I didn't have to share, and this is why I don't like either of them. My dad came home and found out what happened. It had a big fight with stepmom about it, that now they're sleeping in separate rooms. Stepsister is grounded. I'm planning on finding the necklace because the point is made. Most of my friends think it's deserved, but a couple think I should have just told my dad and not made them look for a necklace I already had back. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your stepmom is an a-hole for allowing her daughter to steal your items. That was a handmade gift from a friend. Your father definitely needs to know how horrible his wife treats you, and how she lets her daughter mistreat you as well. If her daughter wanted a necklace so badly, her mom should have gone out and bought her one herself if it was so important that she had to wear it. Is this petty? Yes. Yes, it is. But in my opinion, you are justified a-hole in this case, since not only did they steal from you, then your stepsister was so irresponsible with your necklace. Edited to Ed. OP, is there any way you can sneak the necklace out of your house and have the friend who made it, or someone else you really trust not to say anything? Keep it at their house, so your steps don't snoop in your room to find a hiding place for it? Gloriously petty. I like it, OP. Not a-hole. Not a-hole. This was necessary in this situation and it got your point through. They should have listened to you in the first place, but make sure you know where you found it so they can't get annoyed. I hope they learn to leave your things alone in the future. Just a bit of advice for the future. Most of my friends think it's deserved. When you do stuff like this, don't tell anyone. Your friends could tell someone who then tells your family. Then the crap will hit the fan and you will get in trouble. Learn how to keep a secret. 2 people can keep a secret when one of them is dead. Not stay home. It was taken without your permission and against the wishes of your dad, then was just dumped on the bathroom floor. I'd be inclined to say it maybe went a little too far, but actually if it could mean the stepmom won't enable her daughter so much in the future, it might work out okay in the long run. Next story. Am I the a-hole for taking back my gift and refusing to return it? This happened over Christmas and I'm still getting heat over it. I love knitting and crochet. It's my thing. This year, with COVID and all, money's been tight. So I decided to knit a Christmas gift for everyone using yarn I already had. Everyone already agreed to only do kid gifts, so I made small stuffed animals, unicorns and dragons in different colors. It was my first time doing this and all the best patterns are crochet, which I'm not as comfortable with, so it took months to make them all. I didn't mind though. It was fun to learn something new, and a good way to use up some of my enormous stash. All my side were happy, or polite enough to act happy, with the gifts. The problem was with my husband's families. His sisters immediately started making snippy, sarcastic, but kind of indirect comments about me being cheap/lazy. Niece didn't seem to like it either, and said some things that, yes, I get that she's a kid, but my feelings were still pretty hurt. There's a history of this sort of thing, so maybe I'm too sensitized to this, but I angrily took the gift back and handed her some cash, which made things really awkward, and we left shortly after. The big problem happened when niece realized that all her cousins got matching stuffies, and so she wanted hers back. I already gave hers away, and I refused to make another one. Apparently, she's crying that I broke her heart. But I'm finding it hard to care because I'm still hurt by how she and her mother behaved. They have not apologized either yet, but expect me to. My husband thinks I should make her another one and should have overlooked the comments in the first place. I told him that he's in charge of his family's gifts from now on, which is apparently petty. Now everyone, including husband, is mad at me except his stepdad and sister. My family is, obviously, on my side, but that's just making things worse. I get that snatching the gift back and flinging money at my sister-in-law's face. Their words, I don't think I did, might have been overly dramatic and rude. But am I an a-hole for being pushed too far? Edit. I was told I should mention that niece is around 11 to 12 years old, and that I didn't literally snatch the toy out of her hands like my sister-in-law claims. Niece had tossed it away, so I picked it up. Not a-hole. Entitled children grow into entitled adults. We damn sure don't need any more of those. I tell the sister-in-law that maybe she should have had some respect and taught her child respect, and should have the matching stuffy. As someone who actually does crochet, making that stuff is both time-consuming and still expensive because of the materials going into it, even if it's yarn you already have. Not a-hole at all. I'd be happy to get a handmade gift. Not a-hole. OP, Hubs should handle the gifts for his side of the family and you deal with yours. That is 100% normal and okay. Sounds like Hubs just expects you to do all the labor and have zero responsibility himself. That's BS. Yep, I noticed several issues in this post, and this one is one of them. Yeah, the husband puts in no effort, takes no responsibility, allows his wife to be insulted, blames the wife for his sister-in-law's behavior, demands his wife apologize when she did nothing wrong, then calls his wife petty because after all of this, she says he should take responsibility for gift giving for his family. He's a super a-hole. Although I get the feeling if hubby was in charge of the gifts for his side, he would blow the entire household budget on his family just to make himself look good, and not worry about Opie or her family getting anything. It would make life easier if he would buy their gifts, because they always love whatever he gives them. Sometimes I would buy things and let him say he bought them, and they never complained. But this year we couldn't afford much, and everyone knows he doesn't knit/crochet, so it was obvious who they were really from. He wants to go back to the old arrangement, but I don't want to anymore. Edit 2. Thanks to everyone who responded. I'm sorry I can't reply to you all. I've tried showing this post to my husband and unfortunately, it went not well. He's upset over me making our private things public, which I understand, but still his reaction seemed disproportionate. I didn't want to bring my family into this because they already don't like him, but I'm staying with my sister for a bit. I don't know what to do. Sorry if I'm not responding much anymore. There's just too much else I need to think about now, I guess. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for deciding to ban my in-laws from their future grandkids? Me, 22 female, and my husband, 27 male, are married for 3 years, and we're discussing having children. We have pretty good relationships with my husband, but 2 years ago, he decided to move his parents to our city due to the health reasons. I totally supported him, but said I'll not be comfortable with them living too close from us. Is that okay? In 3 months from this conversation, I found out that he secretly made a deal with our next-door neighbor to buy his land for his parents. Money's theirs. I was furious to say the least, but he promised that they'll move to their house right away and won't live with us. He promised it'll be great. I went with it and even supported our family financially while he was building their house instead of working. In 3 months, it turned out they live with us for 1.5 months. It was a hell for me. After 2 weeks, my mother-in-law, 46 female, started to bully me while my husband was at work. She insulted my career choice. I was at 4th year of my bachelor's degree and had 2 jobs, one being connected with my degree, and my housekeeping skills. Later, she spilled that she blames me for her son leaving his well-paid job, with military forces in countries with high risk of war actions. At that time, he helped them to close their credit bills. This was getting worse as I noticed their drinking problems. My husband had tried to talk to them, but it didn't work. My husband had noticed them being drunk too. He even had problems with them as they insulted him. But on the next day, everything was fine. At that point, I was done with them and went no contact while my husband kept in touch. About 3 months ago, my husband and I started discussing having children, and I said I'm not comfortable with my in-laws being a part of our children's lives. He disagreed with me and said it should be our decision. I asked him to promise me that he won't take children to the in-laws when I'm against it. He refused. Then I asked him to sign the official contract that he will not organize them meeting our children. He refused. After many conversations, I agreed to talk to them and make things work. But it was horrible. When I asked why she treated me that bad, she said, "As a mother-in-law, I have a right to demand children. Where are they?" For all my questions about different encounters we've had, she said, "It didn't happen and you are lying." Even when my husband said that these situations had happened, she hasn't acknowledged them and blew up and screamed, "I apologize to you. I don't want to have the sin of pride." Then she demanded that I apologize too. I asked for what? And she screamed that I'm a liar and my family are liars. My husband supported me and apologized for his decision to move them in the house 5 meters across from us. So now I have no contact with the in-laws, but my husband does. And my decision about them being grandparents is still a big no. My husband chose to be silent about his decision. So am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, but run. Your husband has lied to you at every turn about his intentions with his parents. He has smiled to your face and done what he wanted all this time. Do not have children with this man. He is allowing his mother to mistreat you and approving it. Once you have children, you will never escape him. Make sure your birth control is never left where he or she can find it. If you can stay on an implant or IUD, something he can't get to, do so. Right? Just red flags all over the place. She will regret having children with this man for the rest of her life. Think about the poor kids in a situation like that. Baby, if you think your husband isn't going to go behind your back again, you're wrong. He lied and went behind your back once to move them in right next door. Now it'll even be easier for him to sneak any children over there. Twice. Once to move them next door and once to actually move them in for almost 2 months. It's like he purposely found out what boundary she had, negotiated it, and purposely went about trying to break it. But then blamed her / would make excuses for why his behavior was justified. OP, you are getting a glimpse into how your husband will parent any children you have with him. Please follow through with what you say, for him to learn the consequences of breaking your boundaries. Right now, there hasn't been, since he just keeps moving the goalposts, slowly moving you closer to feeling like nothing makes sense. And once nothing makes sense, you doubt yourself and actions. And then whatever he tells you, you have to believe, because you will feel like you can't trust your own actions. And now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for saying I don't remember how long I've been married? My husband, 42 male, and I, 40 female, have a very good and loving relationship. For the most part, he is a very helpful and engaged spouse and father. He cannot / will not remember the dates of important milestones. I plan and organize the kids' birthday months in advance, and he participates. I spent the first few years of our marriage sulking about him forgetting my birthday, and since then I planned it out myself and let him know what I want as a gift. I remember my in-laws said close friends' birthdays and greet them on my behalf, leaving him to manage his relationships with them on his own. And I do love him a lot, so I plan to celebrate his birthday. I know he'd forget it if I didn't do so. I gave up caring about Valentine's Day long ago. But to his credit, he is good about remembering and celebrating Mother's Day for me. He always forgets our wedding anniversary, and after 8 years of planning and having him simply participate, I left it on him to do something on this one event. He forgot it every year since then. We've been married for 13 years now, and we haven't celebrated our anniversary for the past 5 years. I've made my peace with that. We had a family gathering this weekend, and in a group conversation, someone asked my husband how long we've been married. He did this, "Oh, I don't know, wife keeps tracks of these things." And he and his siblings are all like, "Haha, typical husband." They asked me how long we've been married, and I did the same tone of, "Oh, I don't know. Who can remember? Haha." Everybody became a bit awkward, and husband looked upset at me. Later, he asked me why I'd say that, and I said that we don't celebrate our anniversary, so it's not at the forefront of my mind. The realization that we haven't celebrated our anniversary in years came as a surprise to him. He pointed out that I remember how old our house is, how old our cars are, even how long he's had his laptop. He doesn't remember those things. So for me to not remember how long we've been married is showing everyone that my marriage is of much lower value to me. I said that instead of making his forgetfulness a point of contention, I chose to be like him and not track the age of our relationship, and he should be accepting of that. I may be the a-hole since I do remember how long we've been married, but I'm pretending not to because if he can't bother to remember and celebrate, then I shouldn't be expected to either. Not the a-hole. This man may not remember much, but he does have the ability to buy himself a calendar and use it. It's not your job to care for the both of you. Or a smartphone. They remember anniversaries for you these days. Yep, I have all important dates in my phone's calendar. Even birthdays and anniversaries, even if I know when it is. It's just a reminder for the day of it, as I can get days mixed up sometimes. I bet he remembers his favorite sport team and a lot of numbers around that. He just doesn't care about the marriage and wife in the same way as something important. Not the a-hole. It's so incredibly tiresome. The expectation of being responsible for managing the household. Will they have a free pass at not even recalling things as simple as a wedding anniversary? Being forgetful is one thing. Being uninvested is something else entirely. I think this is why the husband is upset. He just got hit with the reality that she could be as uninvested as he is. That's not something he was prepared for, though she's been dealing with it for years. It's not even that she is uninvested, it's just the potential, his new perception that she could be. Somehow it was fine for him in his mind, but a shaky reality if she's as bad as he is. He is not a kid in school. There are no participation trophies he'd want to put some effort in. He realizes they didn't celebrate for 5 years, but only after it becomes a matter of public opinion. He was embarrassed she didn't play the part he expected in front of people, to remember and assign that value while he got to play down his part in things. It came as a surprise to him. 5 years? Really? There is forgetful and there is willful ignorance. Everyone celebrates their relationship differently, but if they weren't married, sleeping in the same bed like sleeping in separate rooms, would they be considered just people sharing a house? Update. Am I the a-hole for bringing up just how much I actually do for our household to my wife? Original post. Can't believe I actually have a reason to post something on Reddit, but here I am. My wife, 41 female, and I, 42 male, have been married for 15 years. I apparently surprised her by being capable of doing household chores and tasks, which I didn't think much of. My mom always asked me to help out with chores when I was a kid, so I didn't think it was beneath me or anything. I do think I inherited her need to clean excessively, like it's so bad that I can't eat until a mess is dealt with. My mom is an amazing cook. My aunt was a literal chef at a fancy hotel, and my dad loved having barbecues. It was pretty natural to learn from them and pick up a thing or two. The only thing I didn't pick up was how to make a decent cup of tea or coffee. I'm genuinely awful at it. It got to a point where I was handling most of the household chores and taking care of cooking, which I prefer anyway since she comes home exhausted. I've been asking our children, 11 female and 9 male, to do some minor tasks around the house and hopefully teach them this sort of thing too. She has a group of friends who hang out regularly. This time, it was her turn to host the group at her home. I offered to take our children out for the day and it was all set. Before we left, I had to finish up some things for work. The office space is practically on top of our living room, so I could hear what they were talking about the entire time. One of the friends asked how she always kept our house so spotless, and my wife just bragged about how she was responsible for it all. Then they all started talking about their gripes with their marriages. A common theme was how unhelpful their spouses were. I felt pretty uncomfortable, so I just left the office and went out with the kids. I came back after they had left for the night and acted as normal until we got to our bedroom. I asked her what was up with that conversation they had and pointed out that I did the cooking and cleaning in our marriage. She told me not to take it personally and that she just wanted to fit in with the struggles of her friends. Now I just feel unappreciated, especially since I don't clearly remember any genuine gratitude for what I do from her. Since then, she's been pretty short with me. She says I'm weaponizing what I'm doing against her and holding it over her head. I don't expect her to compliment me each time I clean or defend me religiously. Just a little, "my husband is pretty helpful actually, he does his share," would be nice. I can't help but feel like her friends think I'm some sort of deadbeat who comes home to relax and neglect her. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. You're not weaponizing what you're doing against her. You're just insisting that she doesn't lie about you and badmouth you to her friends, which is exactly what she is doing. She knows that she is in the wrong here, hence her hostile response. She doesn't have a reasonable defense for her behavior. Personally, I wouldn't let this go. Her friends are people you will have to socialize with from time to time, and therefore what they think about you does matter. Love it. His wife is accusing him of weaponizing his competence. That's a fresh take on here. It is even more messed up that she is bad-mouthing her own husband to fit in with her friends, when in truth, she knows her husband goes above and beyond for her and her family. I would not have reacted as well as you. You're a better man than me, not the a-hole. I didn't want to ruin her day or make things awkward with her friends, so I only asked her about what happened the night in our bedroom. Like I said, you're a better man than me. I'd have dropped the bomb and bounced. You did the right thing, I think. Are you a stay-at-home father? We both work. She makes about $100K a year while I make around $70K. She earns more, but she's definitely not the only income in our household. What makes my job great is that my boss lets me have a lot of flexibility, so I can work from home and take care of the house and kids as long as I give him a heads up. Sounds like she needs a sample of being in charge of everything for a few weeks. I don't think she could do it, purely because of her job. I've got a lot of flexibility and leeway with my boss that allows me to do whatever I need to do at home or handle our children. She doesn't have that benefit and genuinely comes home about 6 to 7 p.m. exhausted. Now for the first update. I'm pretty shocked this post went as viral as it did, and I tried my best to talk to my wife yesterday. I just can't believe this is the woman I married. I tried speaking with her, explaining that while what she did wasn't the worst thing, it still wasn't a nice thing to do. She didn't appreciate me bringing it up again and told me to suck it up and stop complaining about one mistake. She apologized, but it sounded like she just was tired of dealing with the issue. I could see her getting heated and on the verge of starting an argument, so I backed off and changed the subject. I asked if we could adjust our responsibilities at home to be more balanced, since most of the household management falls to me. Almost everything, about 90%, like cooking, cleaning, and even planning our date nights and family vacations, relies on me. I do think it's an issue she gets to come home and simply say she's tired. She then got in my face, saying I had no right to lecture her about chores since I'm home most of the time. She refused to listen and insisted that our current arrangement works best for our situation. She threw it in my face that she's the primary earner and said that balances everything out. Even this morning, she was visibly annoyed, coming downstairs in a bad mood. I'm pretty sure our kids noticed it too, but I drove them to school after they got ready. When I got back, I saw that my wife had left her packed lunch on the kitchen counter. So now I'm sitting here feeling like the woman I've known for 15 years hates me. She's been ignoring my texts and attempts to call her. I guess I'll have to address this issue properly even if it makes her angry. I can't just let her act like this, especially in front of our children. She's not entitled to be acting the way she's acting, given how you realistically do all the housework. She's an adult woman throwing a fit like a child because she was called out and lying to her friends about the amount of effort she puts in around the house. Maybe if she's offended by you calling her out, she should step up and help out more instead of whining at you for being right. I read this with a gender switched and yikes. It kind of does sound worse. Wife is a major a-hole. Any disrespectful one to speak that way about her husband like that and continue to double down. My mother-in-law did this, and when called out more, she doubled down then cried that she doesn't have a family because no one backed her up. Some people are too far up their own behind to smell anything but crap. Is she cheating? We haven't had any reason to doubt each other in our relationship, so no. I don't think she even has the energy to bother trying. Second update. I think I'm just done at this point. For the first time, I did something I've never done before. I went through her phone while she was sleeping. We both know each other's passwords, so it wasn't difficult. Some of the comments about possible cheating got to me, and I felt paranoid about the situation. Instead, I found a group chat with some of her work friends, different from the friends she had over recently. It was filled with non-stop mockery of me and the things I do for her. She told them how embarrassed she feels to be with me, saying I dote on her like a parent and don't feel like her husband. The lunches I pack for her are humiliating because I add sweets and treats I know she likes. Some of her coworkers teased her about the snacks I pack, and she admitted to just throwing them out at work. She has no issue eating them at home, but at work, she throws out my baking. She also had some pretty hurtful things to say about me in the chat, things I don't even have the courage to type out here. One of the pictures she shared was edited to make it look like I was scrubbing a bathroom towel in a 1960s housewife dress, as if to mock me for doing chores. I just closed her phone and left the bedroom. In the morning, I confronted her about the chat and its contents, which made her panic. I focused on our kids, taking care of their needs, and left her to herself. It's not like she'd have appreciated a kid's lunch anyway. Now she's been texting me nonstop at the office, but I think I've lost all respect for her and what she's become. Not only does she find me overbearing and embarrassing as a husband, but she mocks me to her friends and shares sensitive details about our relationship with them. This will probably be the last update, as I don't think she can come back from this. We just celebrated our 15th anniversary last month, and now after seeing what my wife truly thinks of me, I feel like a fool. I hope she ends up with some slob who sits on his butt drinking beer while she does all the cooking and cleaning, since that's apparently her idea of what a husband should be like. Divorce her and push for full custody of your children for their sake. She neither wants to do chores or have a partner who does chores for her. There's no way she can keep a household fit for kids like that. Preach. She needs to spend a few days on Reddit reading every story about every deadbeat husband. She had no idea what she had. I bet she LARPs as the wife of a deadbeat online, since she claimed to do all the housework to her coworkers. She just wants to be told that she's an incredible wife to an undeserving husband. Sorry it came to this. Good luck moving forward, OP. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to include my grandparents in my life after years of them treating me and my siblings like we were bastards? So I'm a 16-year-old girl, and my parents, 48 male and 50 female, had an affair that resulted in my birth. My dad's family was outraged and cut him off after he divorced his first wife. They never acknowledged me or my siblings, 14 female, 11 female twins, and 9 female, as their grandkids. When I was younger, it hurt seeing my dad's other kids getting outings and a lot of presents at Christmas. But once I hit my early teens, I just kind of stopped caring. Adding to that, I hated how they treated my mom, so I really didn't want much to do with them. My dad has never forced us to spend time with them, thankfully. It's not like they cared much about us anyway. Once my dad's other kids were old enough, they left to live with their mom and stopped visiting much. I was actually glad to have all that negativity gone, honestly. Around the time I turned 12, it seemed like they had a change of heart and started trying to get close to us. But it didn't work, not even with my sister Anna, who is the sweetest girl ever. I guess calling kids bastards and treating them like unwanted things kind of makes them not want you around. Crazy, right? Anyway, I'm in my school's science club, and we recently had a big event. My club and I got a table and did a presentation of all the things we made. I was super excited. About a week after the event, I was talking about it while my dad's dad was there. He turned to me and asked why I didn't invite him. I told him I only wanted my family there. He said he is family, and I replied, "Are you though?" Because I thought I was just some bastard kid you didn't claim until only 4 years ago. He got mad, but my dad stepped in. Now I'm getting messages from his other grandkids calling me an a-hole, but I don't think I am. Am I? The saying you reap what you sow seems to fit here. Grandparents didn't care about you until the older ones don't have time for them. You don't owe them a relationship now that they are lonely. I often tell people who do something really crappy to others that there will be a price to pay. Your situation with your grandparents is just such a situation. Treating kids like that, blaming them for something the adults did, is unforgivable in my opinion. I agree with your decision to not include your grandparents in your life and would do the same thing. Sometimes people need to learn that just because you've had a change of heart doesn't mean the people you've hurt had one too. And learn they can't just skate back into someone's life after years of treating them like dog excrement. I'm not gonna tell you this should be your stance forever. It's up to you, of course. But if this were me, I would require a lot more effort on their part than just suddenly acting like you've always been family. Good luck whatever you decide. The real a-holes here are the parents. They are twice the a-holes, one for the affair and twice for allowing grandparents to have access to the children. Last story. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my ex's mother and telling her how much child support I've been receiving? My ex and I parted ways back in 2023, and ever since, communication with him and his family has been rocky. He wasn't interested in providing for our child, 6, so I had to apply for child maintenance. He currently owes around £1,300 in child support, but has only paid about £120 in total. I've never been on good terms with his parents. Among other things, they asked me not to apply for child maintenance, saying their son couldn't afford it. So you could say we're not exactly friends. Here's where the problem started. They recently found out about several concerts I'm planning to attend. While I did post about it on social media, they don't have access to my accounts, so I'm not sure how they found out. During a recent child drop-off, my ex's mother got very upset over my concert plans and started lecturing me about wasting the child support on myself, and so on. I couldn't hold it in and started laughing, which only made her angrier. Once she finished ranting and I stopped giggling, I told her that her son's child support wouldn't even cover the travel cost of my trip, and that she could rest assured I don't live off of it. I explained that it wouldn't even be enough to raise my child, let alone support us both. I probably should have left it at that, but I added that so far, we've received about £10 a month. I said that without doing the exact math. Truthfully, it's about £11. I added that it doesn't even cover the cost of the fruit my child eats, so neither of them has any say in how I spend my own money. For context, I work full-time and support my child and myself with my own earnings. She called me a liar and stormed off. Now their whole family is upset with me, saying I was rude and demanding I apologize. They also said I was an a-hole for mentioning the exact amount of child support, since it puts my ex in a bad light. My friends are divided. Some found the situation hilarious, while others think it was fair to stand up for myself, but say I shouldn't have told the exact amount. In my defense, I had no idea it was such a sensitive topic. I genuinely thought she didn't care about the amount and was just upset that I was getting any money at all. Also, for what it's worth, my child didn't witness this interaction. She was already inside, and I'm sure it would have gone differently if she had been present. So, am I the a-hole for laughing and telling her how much child support I've been receiving? Nope. I told everyone about the £10 per month my kids were expected to live off of to anyone who told me I was living off of my ex's hard-earned dosh. If he's a deadbeat, make sure everyone knows about it, because I'm not going to work my butt off to maintain my children in a good lifestyle whilst he takes the credit. My ex was similarly upset because I set the record straight. Apparently, I caused his manliness hurt he feels, or something I couldn't give a crap about. OP not a-hole. Yes, when I was attacked for stealing his tax return, I pointed out that that only happens when there are arrears. Oh, so it's paid up now? Yes, for 2018. I've already paid for what the kids need. When his tax return comes, I buy some extras. I was accused of stealing our tax refund. Ex thought he was being smart, changing his address to his mother's. About a week after he did that, I got the refund at our house because it was addressed to both of us. He also thought he was being so smart when he closed the checking account. He forgot about the joint savings account. I deposited a check in there and gave him a check for half. He blew up because he thought he deserved 60% since he made more money, but we both signed the form and were both liable for any taxes due. Fair is fair. He told his family I went to his mother's house and took the check from the counter, saying I left my red hot lipstick on a glass. When I heard that, I laughed so hard I about peed myself. If he had gotten that check, I would never have seen any of it. Update. My 27 male, wife, 28 female, returned from a work retreat with a hickey. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I'm at loss. How do I move forward? Original post. I am in a fight with my wife. We've had fights before, but never this bad. I'm at a loss on how to proceed. For context, we're college sweethearts and have been married for almost 6 years. We have a daughter, 4 female. Our relationship was never perfect or without challenges. We've faced some family opposition due to cultural differences, but we've made it work. She's my first love and my best friend. My wife works in corporate. Her job has annual work retreats that last about a week. This year, it was in Vegas. I usually arrange my work schedule to tag along with her, and we make a trip out of it. We couldn't this year. Our daughter gets major anxiety traveling long distances. We're working on it, but she wasn't budging, and we decided to pick our battles. So I stayed behind and held down the fort at home. The change of plans was a bummer because the trip was part of how we reconnected as both a couple and a family. My wife's work hours have taken a toll, and her work-life balance leaves much to be desired. We entertained the idea of her skipping the retreat. Attendance is optional, but it's generally frowned upon if you don't go, and my wife is making connections in her field. She grew increasingly weird. We have a system if either of us is away for an extended period. We keep in contact. For the first day or so, she was herself, but then she grew distant. I'd text her about important stuff and be left on read, while she later claimed she never saw my texts. Whenever we talked, she was rushing me or our daughter off the phone. These were all times she wasn't involved in retreat activities. We were supposed to have a mini birthday celebration for our daughter over FaceTime. Our daughter was excited. It was something my wife promised because the retreat overlapped with her actual birthday. But my wife backed out because she had people up in her room after a seminar. It was like she wanted my permission to break her promise to our daughter. I told her I wasn't going to give that, nor was I going to make her keep her word. She said I wasn't being fair and that this was a networking opportunity, that these were business-oriented people and wouldn't understand her stepping away for family time. I told her her decision was her decision, but she would have to explain it to our daughter. She promised she'd rain check for the following day. Our daughter didn't understand and cried. My wife ended up hanging up, leaving me to comfort our daughter alone. That whole incident rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it. She didn't keep her word for the rain check either. She was documenting the retreat on social media. One coworker, 23 male, was in almost every pic and video, practically attached to her hip. In one photo, he had his arm around her way too comfortably, in my opinion. He's a recent hire in my wife's department. She was asked to oversee him. I don't like the guy. He doesn't know boundaries. Once, in response to a work assignment, he texted my wife that she's exactly the kind of woman he needs to keep him in check. My wife brushed it off. She feels bad for him because he's not fitting in. She took him under her wing during his first retreat with the team. Whenever I questioned her about the retreat, she said she was tired or networking. There was always something, but I've seen her at these retreats. This wasn't like her. Something was off. The day before her return home, she complained about a bruise on her neck. She stressed that it was a bug bite. I didn't actually see the bruise until she came home. The instant I saw it, I thought it was a full-on hickey. She had made a big deal about it over the phone, but then brushed it off when she got home. I didn't push it at first because our daughter was present. But when I was able to confront her, she clung to her bug bite claim. When I kept pushing, she asked what I was trying to imply. I outright said I believed she had hickey and that I didn't think she was being honest with me. That's when we had it out. She was offended and mad at the accusation. Infidelity has always been a sore topic. Her family has a history of infidelity, so we had a pretty bad fight, and she accused me of looking to pick a fight because of the incident with our daughter's birthday. I told her it had nothing to do with that, and everything to do with the hickey on her neck. The fight ended in an impasse. We're still not recovered. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I've always trusted my wife. I never doubted her. But this bruise doesn't look like a bug bite. It looks like a hickey. That feeling only grows when I consider how distant and weird she was during the Vegas retreat. Now, she's wearing turtlenecks every day, and we're caught between arguing and her dousing our daughter and me with affection. Communication usually prevails for us, but not this time. I think my accusation pushed us to a new level of argument. I'm at a loss here. I really need outside perspectives. How do I move forward? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Something fishy here for sure. I couldn't imagine bailing on my daughter's birthday for networking, then the hickey and the preemptive explanation that it wasn't one? I don't know. Something doesn't add up here. She is clearly full of it. Turtlenecks and love bombing? That seems suspicious for sure. You said that you usually have pretty good communication. So why don't you lay it all out for her, like you did here? 1. You noticed she was distant and uncommunicative during the trip. 2. She missed your daughter's birthday, which is a big deal and was upsetting for your kid. 3. You noticed the young coworker in a lot of her photos, and they seemed cozy and familiar. 4. Now that you've seen the bug bite she warned you about, you don't believe it's a bug bite. It looks inappropriate. Ultimately, you need to decide what you need. This is the time for boundaries. Do you want to stay with her? If so, what needs to happen so that you can have confidence in your relationship? Everything you listed here, I pretty much did. She avoided answering specifics and said I was looking to pick a fight over our daughter's birthday. With the coworker, she said it was his first retreat with the team and she wanted him to feel included. She always has some defense for him. Now for the update a week later. I wanted to give an update and thank everyone who reached out. The outside perspectives helped. Things have been a roller coaster. I'm trying to process everything. It took a while for my wife and me to have any real conversation about the bruise on her neck. We were stuck between arguing and her showering our daughter and me with affection. I rarely saw the bruise because she was always wearing turtlenecks, but I did note the healing process from reddish purple to yellow. There wasn't any more discussion about the Vegas retreat. She made it clear she was done talking about it and that she shouldn't have to defend herself to her husband. I told her she could do whatever she wanted, but I was done being treated like an idiot, and I wasn't sharing a bed with someone I couldn't trust. So I moved into the guest room. Communication stopped. The silences were palpable. Even our daughter noticed. I'm not proud of that. I try to keep her out of fights. One night, my wife came to the guest room and asked if we could talk. I could tell she had been crying. She said she hated the way things were between us. She felt she was losing me either way. I told her I needed complete honesty. That's when she confessed. She had hooked up with that coworker on our daughter's birthday. The hickey was from him. She said she got caught up in the moment and didn't realize he was sucking so hard on her neck. By her account, they made out, engaged in some over-the-clothes stuff, and then he went down on her. It stopped there because he called her by a nickname that I affectionately call her. That snapped her back to the reality of what she was doing. She went to splash water on her face and saw the hickey. The guy made light of it, joking that the hickey was her souvenir. She blew up on him and kicked him out of her suite. Part of the reason she was avoiding me was out of guilt. She said she was coming clean because she didn't want to hide things anymore. I asked her why she cheated. What was it about him that she deemed worth risking everything? She claimed it wasn't about him specifically, nor was she unhappy with our marriage. She said she didn't really know how to explain it, but a part of her felt broken. The more she looks in the mirror, the more she sees her dad, 57 male, a cycle of being consumed with work, distant from family, and the infidelity he put her mom, 55 female, through. She said her family never talked about anything openly, and that when she was growing up, my mother-in-law never addressed anything with her. I told her, your parents didn't make you cheat. She chose to party with a guy who has constantly disrespected our relationship. These were all her decisions. And at any point, she could have chosen our family. She agreed. She wanted to blame her parents but realized this was on her. She apologized for cheating and for entertaining the guy's advances. She said she would do whatever it takes to repair things. Go to HR, quit her job, counseling, anything. She wants to make everything right. I told her I don't know what right looks like or if that's even possible for us anymore. I knew we had our problems, but I thought there wasn't anything we couldn't talk through. She insisted we still could talk through this. We didn't have to give up on us. She tried giving this rallying cry for our relationship, but I felt numb. I told her I didn't recognize her, not just because of the betrayal of our vows, but because of how she treated our daughter. She feels she has failed as a wife and a mother, but she says she loves us beyond words and wants our life together and our family intact. I told her I couldn't give her the answer she wanted and that I thought we needed to separate and reevaluate. She didn't want separation. She felt we should stay together in our home, but I told her a separation was happening. Either she was leaving the home or I was leaving with our daughter. She consented to leaving so as not to uproot our daughter too much. She just asked that our daughter not be taken away from her. My wife is now staying with my in-laws. I know that's difficult for her because she doesn't have the best relationship with her parents. One of the hardest parts is the shift for our daughter. Right now, she believes her mom is just busy with work as usual. She hasn't questioned it much. My mother-in-law called the other day. She made no excuses for my wife, but is advocating for us to work through it. She told me about times when she had heard my wife describe me as the anchor she always wanted. She believes there's something worth fighting for if I'm open to it. Despite some family opposition we faced throughout our relationship, my mother-in-law was always a supporter of us. I'm even more at a loss. I never imagined this kind of betrayal from my wife. She was my safe place. I feel numb yet broken. I'm in love with her. That hasn't changed. But I don't see myself, her, our relationship, or our family the same way anymore. Everything is more tense because this is still fresh. I think this period of separation is for the best. I'm not sure about divorce. I haven't let myself fully go there yet. I'm not set either way. I don't know where things go from here, but for now, I'm focusing on our daughter and taking things one step at a time. That's all I feel I can do right now. Thanks again to everyone for the support. It's much appreciated. Do you think she's still trickle-truthing you? How would the coworker know your nickname for her? OP, also think about this part of your comment whenever your wife tells you she is sorry. Cheating on you is one thing, but your wife's behavior towards her daughter is sickening. Yeah, you don't get to disconnect from being a parent, especially to a minor, for extended holidays. You certainly don't ghost them on their birthday, and when you promise to do something special for them and got the child excited about it or hang up on them while they're crying. Good luck onwards. I was just on a work trip with a coworker who has a couple of little kids similar in age to OP's. He had arranged his travel times to make it easier on them and went back to the hotel to call them every night. Nothing about how the wife is acting is normal or okay. Yep. I was that person when I traveled a lot for Corp. I once interrupted a meeting with my executive and a higher up in our company in Vegas to go FaceTime my kid at 7 p.m. home time. They understood, knew it was my rule. It's kind of standard for good parents and partners to care about them and build in time on travel for daily check-ins. OP deserves better. Ask her if she would be open to reconciliation if you had cheated with a coworker, hurt her daughter, gaslighted her, and made her feel like an idiot for questioning you. Also, if you think it stopped Adam going down on her, I have a bridge in Brooklyn I'll sell you super cheap. When I read that part, I was like, oh, the trickle-truthing begins. Next story. Update. Not wanting my girlfriend to travel with a guy she slept with. Original post. My girlfriend is going on a trip with a guy she has known for 8 years, with whom she has slept in 2017 and 2023, the latest being several times over 3 months just before we got together. They have previously traveled together while having partners, and nothing happened. But one time they may have kissed while blackout drunk, but she is now sober and committed to her sobriety. She has assured me that they are truly just friends, and that if they had wanted a relationship, they would have pursued it. She claims the only reason they were sleeping together was that they were single and had no one else around. Every year, a group of 4 friends, including him, travels to a new country for 2 weeks. She doesn't want to cancel trips with these people who are important to her. She has described him as one of her very close friends and reiterates that there are no romantic feelings and that she should be trusted. She planned her next trip without consulting me in the very early stages of our relationship. The trip is coming up very soon, and I am feeling very uncomfortable about it. We are discussing ending our otherwise great relationship over this, but she has stated that this is non-negotiable, as they travel every year and will continue to do so. Would I be wrong if I threw away a great relationship over this? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Are you invited next year? What happens if and when you get married? I don't know, man. My best advice? Tell her to marry him, because no good man is gonna marry her and stay through this every year. Best of luck. No, not invited next year, and will never be invited. It's a 4 friends tradition thing. She cheated on a previous partner of hers with him, and all she will admit to her current boyfriend is a drunken kiss. That doesn't mean that's all that happened, OP. Your days are numbered, friend. Every year for 2 weeks, she's going to be with this guy. You don't think he's going to be preying on your downfall? You think he's some kind of stand-up guy where you are the only thing standing between him and banging her on these vacations, and you don't think he's going to be trying to undermine it? They only hooked up because they were single, except that one time she wasn't single, but she promises it was just a drunken kiss. Jeez, dude, your goose is cooked. The guy doesn't want OP out of the picture. He knows he's got her as much as he wants her 2 weeks every year. If he wanted her more than that, he would have already done it. Now for the update 9 months later. So this was a while ago. What 9 months? And yes, Redditors, you were right. I should have kicked her to the curb then, but stupid me dragged it out for 9 months. Firstly, a bit of context. None of us are from the same country or even live in our countries. We are a pretty international bunch, so lots of travel is normal. We all travel about 6 times a year and also work abroad in international roles. Niche, yes. So her and FWB did their little tradition trip, and I agreed on the compromise this was the last one, and she would take a step back from him after. While she was on said trip with F-Buddy, I moved to Australia and set up our housing and car, etc., and got a job. We had been traveling together for 6 months before that, and my last post was from on the road, Maldives. So she arrived in Australia and announced that I need to get over my insecurities, but she will take a communication break from him for a while to allow our relationship to have a chance. We were happily living our new life for a couple of months when I saw a notification on her phone from him. So her idea of a communication break was no DMs, but they still chatted regularly in an old group chat. They were swiping each other's names and replying. Yet she couldn't comprehend that this was a communication break because it was the group chat, so it didn't count. I should have walked then, but I'm a dumbass who gave another chance. But I doubled down and said I want this guy out of your life if we will have a chance. Or if you need him, that it's fine, but I leave. She again agreed until it turns out she didn't like my ultimatum, so messaged him anyway as an act of defiance. Her words. I finally walked, only a year too late. Currently working on my anxious attachment and why I put up with this nonsense. Always judge people by their actions, not their excuses or promises. She is not in love with you or committed to a long-term relationship with you. Also, a little more context. She cheated on her ex multiple times, but demanded I unconditionally trust her with this guy. Damn, bro. Sorry you dealt with blatant disrespect. Yeah, man, and then gaslit that I was insecure. This is the kind of woman who would rationalize banging him because there's no love or attraction there, but she really loves you. So the sex means more. I would bet cold hard cash they hooked up on that trip and will do so every time they get together. It took you a while, but you did the right thing. Yeah, I struggled with that one. I don't love him, it's just sex, but I love you, blah blah freaking blah.